Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm, and as always, it's a pleasure to be in your company today. Thank you so much for tuning in on this TGIF Open Line show. Every Friday, we do a show where you are my co-host, and we talk about the week that was or whatever else you want to talk about. I learned my lesson last week. I went and prepared all these clips about all the news stories that were taking place, and y'all took the show in a completely different direction. But hey, it is what it is. That's what today's show is all about. It's an opportunity for you to sound off and let us know what you are thinking about or what concerns you based on what you see happening around the nation. So we are, of course, streaming live on Facebook on the official Global 99.5 FM Facebook page, as well as the official Michelle Malcolm page. Call us at 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, or WhatsApp us at 8010271, 8010271. And we are also streaming airing on Cable Bahamas Channel 974. Cable Bahamas Channel 974. So that's the way that you can be a part of the show this afternoon. Of course, if you are one of our Facebook viewers, you can also put a comment on Facebook, and we will try to, if not read them on air, definitely put them on the display so that everyone watching via Facebook can see what it is that you have to say. But, this is a talk show. So my preference is that you actually call into the show so that we can have a good conversation. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck with listening to my voice for 2 hours. And I, like some politicians who are in love with my voice. So, yeah, I want to hear from you all today. 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272 are the numbers to call. All right, so we had a very interesting week this past week. Lots and lots and lots to talk about. I want to begin with a little humor. And I say humor, tongue-in-cheek, because really, ain't nothing funny about this. When you have two grown men, one a former leader and one a current leader, engaged in what seems to be, for want of a better term, a pissing contest. about who's man enough to do this and who's man enough to do that. And if you's man, come do this. And anyhow, I can play this clip first, and then we can talk about this a little bit. Check this out.
Brave Davis is the last man on earth to talk about failing or neglecting a constituency. Cat Island, the constituency, Cat Island and San Salvador, the constituency that he represents, they can inform you, and the records would reflect, that they are the most neglected island in the Bahamas, Cat Island. We had to introduce pipe water there. Brave Davis had no problem with the outdoor facilities that they were utilizing. The airport there was a disaster. Once it rained, individuals could not, there were not sufficient space. Individuals had to run in their car. And in fact, what happened is they had tent placed outside the airport for individuals to sit. That was a complete disgrace. So he's the last one to talk. Now, with respect to Kalani, they are doing their best to punish Kalani. Our parks are not maintained, our voyages are not maintained, and in fact we meet and the associations get together and we try to do that ourselves. And we sent out an announcement accordingly that we will organize ourselves and clean our voyages and our park because the government is neglecting us.
Have you been doing that?
Yes. We've not been doing it sufficient, but we are increasing to ensure that Kalani maintains its status as it was, the role model for constituency. But if Brave Davis is any man, then Brave Davis can come and run against me in Kalani. He's presently a constituent of Kalani.
He is a constituent.
He's a constituent. He had no problems before. But if he is man, I dare Brave Davis to challenge me in Kalani.
Well, if he's man enough, he can run against me in Cat Island and run against El Salvador. It is what it is. All right? I don't have to run against him. I have someone who's going to run against him and beat him. Well, he's on his route to retirement now, isn't he? He's on his route to retirement. Right? He's on his route to retirement. And I don't put stock in what he has to say. Because I'm not supposed to be in this seat either. If you listen to him, I'm not supposed to be where I am now. You're going to believe him now that he can retire me?
Okay. So how all this abuse man back and forth started? Well, apparently the Prime Minister, Davis, made some comment about the former Prime Minister neglecting his constituency because he's too busy trying to deal with the infighting alleged within the Free National Movement. So then Menace responds by saying, you're the last one who could talk about, you just heard the clip for yourself. He's the last one who should talk about neglecting the constituency, yada, 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 yada. And if you're smart enough, come run against me in Kalani. And then Davis says, oh yeah, well, if you was smart enough, come run against me in Cat Island. Okay. Will the real man please stand up? Because while you're all busy around about who's man enough and who could run where and who doing what to what constituency, we got some very real issues to deal with in this country. Very real issues. Very serious issues. And I look at all this rhetoric back and forth and all this activity on both parties, doing all these constituency meetings and this. I wonder, they know something we don't know it. Ain't been 2 years yet that the Free National Movement was defeated at the last election, in the last polls. Ain't been 2 years yet since the Davis administration took over. But yet, if you look at the atmosphere now, you'll swear that a date has already been called for the next general election. What's going on? What they know, what we don't know. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good day and God bless you, Michelle. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good, thanks. Good afternoon to the Bahamas. I'm not calling about those two gentlemen. I'm calling about something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
The Bay Street, the condition of Bay Street. Every now and then I come across an article in the Guardian newspaper, which is the only one I can really easily access online. Recently, I heard them talking about another record cruise arrival day.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was either this week or last week
Mm-hmm.
when that happened. And Michelle, every time I hear that, I cringe because of the condition of Bay Street. I find it so ironic, painfully so, that governments, not political parties now, governments over the last, 10, 15 years, were talking about the redevelopment of Bay Street, the revitalization of Bay Street, had been planning this cruise port. And in my estimation, have done nothing decisive to cause Bay Street to have been redeveloped.
And the cruise port almost finished?
Well, I know it's going to be opening up officially in May or whenever, another few months.
Right.
My point is this, and I'm glad you made that point because that even strengthens what I'm endeavoring to say.
Okay.
You would have thought that wisdom would have prevailed in the hearts of leaders of the day to ensure that the revitalization of Bay Street would have been done completely in tandem with the development of the port.
Mm.
But they didn't do it. They keep telling you and me, the listening public, that they're talking with the owners, they're talking with the owners of the properties on Bay Street, which is one of the reasons, Michelle, the container port was removed from out there and now is at Arawaki, which was a good move in my estimation.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that we as a people, the government of this country, likes for the Bahamas to constantly get a black eye when it comes to Bay Street? Because, Michelle, I can only ask the question like that because it seems like we like to be embarrassed.
Mm.
I'm as a person who is physically unable to see, it bothers me knowing the condition of Bay Street today, dilapidated, ugly, disgusting, unpleasant, compared to where it used to be in its glory days.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Michelle, when is it that as a nation of people, we are going to genuinely do things because they're the right, morally right things to do, nationally the right things to do, rather than allowing special interest to influence? When are we going to get to the point where we're going to put country first rather than special interest? And I asked that question, Michelle, without necessarily expecting an answer from you.
Yeah, because I certainly can't give you one.
But see, the reason I'm asking that, Michelle, is Bay Street had been the magnet for tourism in the Bahamas because of what it was in its heyday, the straw market, and all of the stores having been out there at one time. You trying to tell me, Michelle, that the leaders of this country had no wisdom, had no strength of conviction to realize that as the port was being planned for redevelopment, so ought at the same time Bay Street ought to have been definitely and assertively put in the same direction?
Well, I can't speak to their methodology. Maybe they're thinking that once the port is open, and many visitors will be driven in that direction, that will attract businesses to those stores east of East Street and help to revitalize Bay Street to what it used to be.
Yeah, by default, that's happening.
Well, again, I'm not privy to what the master plan is, so I'm just speculating here.
Well, and I appreciate that, Michelle. But you and I heard over the years about this master plan for the redevelopment of Bay Street. That, if memory serves correctly, that included a construction of a boardwalk on the water side for the public to walk all the way from Porterski all the way down to Prince George Dock.
Right.
Other things was planned for Bay Street. For the thing that I'm oftentimes wondering about when it comes to governments, they really and truly only do things when either they want to, and I'm grateful for those things that they do for the benefit of this country in that respect, and or when they are embarrassed or put under pressure by the public. Why do I say that, Michelle? Because you have in our country's constitution something called eminent domain. The government has the right to eminent domain, wherein, for the sake of the public good, it can confiscate private property and convert it into something for the public good. Perfect example, Clifton Pier. In the 80s, Nancy Oakes used to own that property. The Pindling administration back then had planned to put the port out there, so they used that right given to them by the Constitution. They took the property away from Nancy Oakes. Of course, they had to pay the woman the value of the property, which they must do by law in respect to any property they take from a private citizen for that purpose. But in respect to Bay Street, no one seems to have had the strength of conscience, or conviction rather, I should say, to do the same thing in respect to Bay Street. I mean, I get so embarrassed as a Bahamian, Michelle, when I hear about all of these tourists coming here, which we want, which we welcome, which we should all appreciate and respect. But I get so embarrassed to know how ugly that place is out there, called Bay Street, and these people walking up and down in the place are dead, dirty, and ugly. I mean, I hope I ain't the only Bahamian who thinking or feeling this way. But what pleasure is it to me as a Bahamian to be welcoming thousands of tourists to the Bahamas, to something that's dirty, to something that has no life, to something that is hardly any longer Bahamian in its look or sound or feel. And I'm including Arawaki in that, by the way.
Right.
I don't go to Arawaki anymore. And I will never go to Arawaki again until they get rid of all that reggae music from what they start playing Bahamian music and other changes made that need to be made. I am not a visitor in my own country. I should not have to be going out to Arawaki and listening and watching and hearing things that's not Bahamian. I should not, you should not, none of us should ever have to be subject to that. But we've done it to ourselves.
Yep.
We've done it to ourselves. Bahamians who started off at Arawaki as the owners of that area turned around and leased it out to people who were not culturally Bahamians. And now look what's happening. The place has gone to the dogs, man, in my estimation. I stand to be challenged on that. I stand to be corrected because I ain't say I perfect when I say my statement is a perfect one. I'm not saying that it is in respect to it going to the dogs, but when I go out there, that's how I feel.
Well,
same thing with Bay Street.
You're not the only person who's complained about the diminishing of the experience at Fish Fry. I've seen posts where tourists have complained that the food is not the same and the service is not the same. Again, who to blame for that?
Us.
Oh, okay.
We, Bahamians. We caused
Bahamians were there.
Yeah.
Okay.
We caused this to ourselves. Non-Bahamians didn't do this to us.
Nope.
We did it to ourselves either because we were lazy, either because we were disinterested, either because we developed or always had in many instances a don't care attitude, or just chasing after money for the sake of money.
Money. Why are you going through all of that?
Because, Michelle, even though money, the love of money is the root of all evil, like the Bible says, even though money is the bottom line, there are other reasons why many of us Bahamians only go after money.
Such as?
They ain't interested in quality performance. They are only interested in the gain in their pocket.
Excuse me.
Michelle. Quality and ethics, work ethics ain't for them no more. That's why they're selling out everything to non-Bahamians, or leasing them out or renting them out to non-Bahamians.
Mm-hmm.
We Bahamians have been chased out of the Bahamas by the fact, in my estimation anyway, that we don't like us as a people. Look at the brain drain that you've talked about over the years. Paulette Zonical was the consular general, I think. Was it Miami?
No, Washington.
Washington, eh?
Mm-hmm.
And I heard an interview by her some years ago, 6, 7, 8 years ago, where she accounted to the Bahamian people that, according to the data, that her office had more than 100,000 Bahamians were no longer living in the Bahamas, but had moved out. And this was only in the United States. 100,000, Michelle.
Is that right?
You can feel it and sense it around this place. You know, you've ever heard the saying, you overqualified?
Mm-hmm.
Then Bahamians go off to school, come back home, get a degree to be able to or expecting to work in a particular business, whether private or public sector. And they're being frustrated by being told they're overqualified. What do you expect for the Bahamians who gone to college to do when they got bills to pay and or careers to build, other than to go off into other people's countries and contribute? My Lord, so many Bahamians, Michelle, if I dare say, if we had all of the Bahamians home today, who are contributing in other people's country right now to build those other countries, the Bahamas would be a beautiful, exciting, dynamic place to be living in right now.
Only if they not were just here to be here, but were here given the opportunities that they are being afforded in other people's countries.
But that's what I'm alluding to. That is exactly
I know,
what I'm alluding
but I just wanted to clarify that.
Yes, I appreciate you doing that.
Yeah. It's no use them being here if there are no opportunities here for them.
But that's why a lot of Bahamians are not home, because opportunities are not here for them. Mm-hmm. This syndrome of friends, family, and lovers over the years really has become an albatross around the neck of success for the Bahamas.
Mm-hmm.
It has choked a lot of the love and the care for this country that many Bahamians have.
Right.
And so as a Bahamian, Michelle, who is physically unable to see, not literally able to see the condition of Bay Street, even I am uncomfortable and embarrassed whenever I'm going out in that area and people are driving me around and we're riding that area and I can feel it. The atmosphere of Bay Street is stifling.
I recently saw a video of tourists. Didn't show their face, but they were complaining. They were a cruise visitor, and they were complaining that the downtown experience was very unpleasant because people were harassing them.
Oh boy, I tell you.
And using foul language and being aggressive, and the place was dirty.
Aggressive with them and all of that stuff.
And the person said point blank, I will never get off at this port again. In any other cruise I take, I would stay on the boat.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the person said.
See, and Michelle, we don't understand as a people anymore that the experience your golden goose has will either make you or break you if that's all your country is depending on. whether that golden goose is oil for like Venezuela or in our case tourism. When we treat people well, like it used to be years ago with the people to people program, you're going to have people come to your country just because they love being around you. When you treat them badly, well, the opposite applies. And you can't, Michelle, I ain't going to visit no country if I'm treated bad in the country by the natives of that country.
Mm.
Nobody likes bad treatment. And a lot of us Bahamians don't get it. Many of us have lost the idea. Being nice to a tourist, serving a tourist, does not mean you are a slave. We're not talking about being a slave to nothing. We're talking about being good at what you do, providing quality service in whatever area one is in. And right now, governments of this country has let us down when it comes to Bay Street, Michelle.
Yeah. Well, JT, I have a cell phone call waiting.
All right,
so
my dear. Thank you for your
thanks for
time.
calling. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon, Michelle. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great, great. You know, I was just listening to the last caller and a couple of points he made about Bahamians leaving the Bahamas and not wanting to return.
Mm-hmm.
There's something that happens in life. If you leave a place, if you want to leave your house unoccupied, somebody else or something else will come in. One of the issues we are fighting with right now is the issue of illegal immigrants coming to the Bahamas and taking advantage of our system. We have to decide as Bahamians what it is we want. On one hand, some of us are encouraging young Bahamians to stay away and develop someone else's country. And then we get mad when someone else sees the opportunity in our country and come in and set up shop. You can't have it both ways.
Mm-hmm.
Either you're determined to develop your country or continue to encourage your young people to leave your country and don't come home because you believe they are too smart, too intelligent, or too educated to come home. Now, usually people would say to you, look, the opportunities are not here in the Bahamas. But, you know, Booker T. Washington said a long time ago, drop your bucket down wherever you are. Wherever you are, there's a well. You don't have to go across the road for the well. The well is right under your feet. Drop your bucket down. The opportunities are right here in the Bahamas. You don't have to wait for someone to hire you. You've got to make things happen sometimes.
I want to read a comment from one of our Facebook viewers. Miko says, many of us came home, could not get a job in the Westminster-dominated system. If you don't know someone, you're lucky to get a minimum wage job. How do you respond to that?
The way I would respond to that is this, Michelle. If you're so educated, why you have to sit down and wait for someone to hire you? You heard what I just said? Drop your bucket down where you are. Where you are is the well. I didn't get an education for someone to hire me. I could create my own wealth, man. You know, the last time I went to Eleuthera, I wanted to get a boiled fish. I couldn't even get a boiled fish on Eleuthera. No one around there catching a fish. What's Eleuthera? Can't get one fish. I can't get one fish in the Bahamas. Anyone who is unemployed right now, if they decide they want to go out and catch some fish, could make money. There's no reason for this, where you have to sit down and wait for someone to hire you.
I don't think it's a fair assessment to say that many of our young Bahamians, especially who have gone abroad, gotten their education, gotten qualified, come back home, are sitting here waiting. I think many of them do make the effort to try to make a contribution, but in many ways they are stifled and frustrated by persons who don't want to see the system change, who don't want to embrace new technology, who don't want to give the younger people an opportunity to shine because they feel threatened by these young people. They feel like, yeah, you come here to take my job, so I can frustrate you to the point where you're not going to want to stay. I mean, if we use the nurses as an example, we spend lots of money training our nurses right here in the Bahamas. But you have other countries that are pursuing them,
Yes.
treating them way better.
Yes, and Michelle, you raise a great point. In fact, I was about to bring that up.
Mm-hmm.
The situation with our nurses is a classic case.
Mm-hmm.
We educate them. You educated them. I educated them.
Mm-hmm.
Our money, with the intent that they would pour back into our country. Some of them know from the crack of the gate that once they get what they get, they can break off on it. Some of them know it.
Mm.
In fact, I had family members, they know it. They could tell you that from before they even go into the nursing college. So almost every nurse we train would be picked off by America or Canada. We know it. In fact, we are training them for other people.
Mm.
So, but now watch this. As they leave the Bahamas, then we end up having to import either people from the Philippines or Jamaica or wherever.
Right.
So and then we in the Bahamas would get vexed with them. Oh, why you got all these foreign nurses here? Meanwhile, my sister is in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Your money helped to train.
Mm-hmm.
She went to Canada because far she can say, man, I want more money.
Mm-hmm.
She looking out for herself and her family. What about your money that trained her? And then she can get mad when the Jamaican come and slide in the vacuum. She leaves behind. You see, human nature is human nature no matter where we are all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're not the only one in the world with this problem. America and Canada, they pull in talent from every single place. Maybe the Bahamas need to learn from them.
Mm.
We have to structure our immigration in such a manner whereby we go pull some talent. We pull the talent. Don't wait for anyone to decide. Let's identify what talent we need and let's grab it and do the same thing that everyone else is doing.
Yeah, but if we can't, if we can't put systems in place to keep our own people, would make you think we could attract anybody else?
Well,
I talking about qualified people now. I ain't talking about cheap labor. I talking about qualified people.
And you make a great point, and it's not as simple as even I'm making. It's a little more complex than that.
Exactly.
Let me just shift gear to something else you were talking about with Bay Street and the dilapidated state. I wonder if the Bahamian people really understand what's happening with that cruise port that was recently built.
Mm-hmm.
Do you realize we leased that out for, what, 200 years? That's not owned by the Bahamas. That was leased to whoever them foreigners are. They own that now for the next 200 years. You and I will be long gone. And in fact, I think our children might be long gone. And the fact of the matter is, once that cruise port start operating, there's no need to come on Bay Street. What are you going on Bay Street for? And then there's no need to go to the fish fry or go to Junkanoo Beach. You could just shuttle them, because I think the government also leased to them the beach on Paradise Island for another, 200 years. So they can just catch a little ferry across the way. So we keep shooting ourselves in the foot. Why should they come to Bay Street at this point? If everything will be within that port, why? So who did this to us? Who could lease that for 200 years? And these are the same people who would come back to us today, and as if we should forget all of this and they give me another chance.
Well,
they just saw not only our birthright, our children's birthright, our grandchildren's birthright.
mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't even know if the humans really understand the scope and the depth of what was done to us. You know, there's a 200-year lease. Not 2 years, 200 years.
Mm.
How these people could come back around you with a straight face? How?
Well, I think they know exactly what they're doing, because Bahamians, unfortunately, and that's how I started the show, we get distracted very, very easily from real issues. So we all caught up in the rah-rah and the ray-ray and the, election time, everybody into the pom-pom and the party and who have the best music and who getting out the most rum and for the most part, a large part of the electorate couldn't tell you A from B as it relates to any real issues in this country. And so the politicians know that, and they know how to play the game.
Have you ever been on a cruise?
Yes.
Yeah. You see the whole cruise port that is great. Is there any need to come out of that? And when you come out of that, are they not just selling the same things that you just left behind in the cruise port?
Well, the thing is, what makes a cruise port attractive is when it is immersed in the culture of that particular place, not just a
Exactly.
bunch of shops.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there'd be no need to come out of there. If I could get my conch salad in there, if I could get my conch fritters in there, if I could get my straw wake in there, what are they coming out there for? They cut me off before I could even get out there. I experience it right in there. So once I get to the cruise, like I said, man, I been to the Bahamas, I experience everything right in there. No need to come out. So the rest of them on Bay Street, they might as well fold a tent right now and change that to something else.
Well, I again, I believe that the key is that you have a very vibrant cultural experience for the people enjoy when they come off the boat. And back in the days of Pinling, when those cruise ships came in, they had to close all of their shops. They had to close. Yeah. So so you decide to stay on the boat, you can be very bored on that boat while at port here because everything would be closed. So that would encourage them to come off the boat and experience the culture and the food and the shopping in the Bahamas.
So if I have my version of our key within the port, if I have my junk canoe within the cruise port, what's the need for me to go outside that gate? I'm going to experience everything that they purport to happen on the outside. I'm simply bringing it on the inside so that you
well, the key to that would be, I think, to have a presence there for some kind of tour companies that will offer experiences outside of that facility. There are many, many ways to address that. You go to some countries, and they have experiences like, well, not just some countries, but some cities, for instance, in the United States, where they have, I don't know what they call it, but they have like I was watching this television program, and it was a reality show, and they went to visit this particular city in the United States, and one of the experiences that they had was where you could I'm not getting the terminology right, but where you could sip while you pedal. So it was like this bar built on square bicycle type of thing where everybody was pedaling to go from one stop to the next.
Yes.
So they had several different stops, designated stops. But this thing was like a square bar with wheels that everybody had to pedal to get from one stop to the next. And it was a great way, I thought, for people to see to see the place, to experience different businesses, etc. So there are many ways that you can tackle that and attract people outside of that port. I don't think that, I mean, in the cruises, and then I got to take a break, but in the cruises that I've been on, particularly in the Caribbean, you get off, you go into the port area. They have all the shops and the cultural whatever, but then they also had tour guides there, taxi drivers saying, "Would you like to go and tour the rest of the island?" And we took advantage of that. My cousin and I went on a Caribbean cruise, and I believe it was Tortola, but one of those Caribbean islands. And we ended up leaving the port area and taking a tour with a bus, like a small minibus driver, and it was us and a Mexican family that decided to do this little tour of the island with him. And man, we enjoyed that so much more than we enjoyed our time within the port area. He took us all up in the mountains and took us to this little mom and pop shop where they were making their version of what we call coconut cake. You know, the caramelized candy that we make with coconut. They have their version of that, and And there was an almond cake that they had. And I mean, it was a wonderful experience with that tour guide. And he had his own little entertainment that he created within his bus environment. So he went out and he got, what you call the shakers on the Poinciana tree. He gave us all our little shakers, and Mom, he was playing the local music, and we were shaking our little shakers, and it was all very simple cultural stuff, but we enjoyed that immensely. So I don't agree that everybody's just going to stay in the port just because it's there. No. There are ways that you can attract people.
You would have one or two people who ventured out. I mean, when I went on the cruise, I did similar to you, but I had to venture out on my own. The cruise ship certainly won't encourage you to do that, but you would want to do it. So you go out on your own and you to see the place.
Yeah, somewhat. He took us to all the spots where we could, get a real experience of the island, and just got us back to the ship in time. So there's no saying that once they put that port, that doesn't mean that people outside of the port won't experience business. I think it's just a matter of being creative.
Boy, it certainly can put some pressure on them, because trust me, you coming up against a juggernaut when you're talking about the cruise sport. You coming up against a juggernaut, and even the guys who on the outside trying to do their cruises somehow got to connect with the port, and the port might even get a piece of that, because the port might even recommend that people will go to Tom over here rather than Harry. So,
well, in that particular example that I just gave, he actually was parked outside the entrance. And so he offered you his experience before you even got in there. And it was up to you to take it or not. Yeah. And we decided, you know what? We've seen everything in here. Let's now go check out there. And we went back out and say, you know what? There was another, like I said, a Mexican family who wanted the same experience, and we all just piled into his little mini bus, and man, we had the time of our lives. So it is possible. And you just said yourself, lower your bucket in the well. That's a well right there. People can lower their bucket in.
Of course.
So that's an opportunity. So I don't think that we should just throw our hands up in the air and say, well, they come with this port and they can take all the business. No. There are opportunities that will spill out from that I think Bahamians could take advantage of. But listen, I got to take a break.
You have a good week.
Thank you so much for calling, All right, let's go to this break. When we come back, we're going to continue with our TGIF Open Line show. This is GPS.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, tints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Weston, Lux, fuel, track life, tough, rough racing, velocity, mud, all-terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Less is love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun. Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. I'm Michelle Malcolm here in your company. We are streaming live on Facebook on the official Global 99.5 FM and Michelle Malcolm pages. You can call in at 3260271. 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, and WhatsApp us at 8010271, 8010271. You can also watch us on Cable Bahamas on channel 974. So, this is an open line show. You are my co-host today, and we are going to talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about. Just in case I try to have clips prepared, just in case you all decide to take long to call in, so we'll have something that we can sort of, spur the conversation. So, prior to the first two callers we had, we're talking about these two gentlemen who talk about who's money enough to do this and money enough to do that. While we have some very real issues facing the country that we need to be spending more attention to, as opposed to watching these two go back and forth about who is man and who ain't man and all this garbage. Is that a call of the show? Caller, welcome to GPS.
Michelle.
Hey.
What's up?
Very cool.
You good?
Yeah, man.
That's always good to know. Listen, tell the Minister of Immigration, stop talking foolishness. Put 3-strike rule in your out, yeah? All right, so when I rob the bank, fine me twice, and then if I go back and rob the third bank, then charge me. How that sound?
What I missed? I didn't hear that. What did he say?
Listen, read the Guardian. 3-strike rule for immigration breach. Bell says employers should go to court on the third violation.
What?
You think they see it?
I gotta go look and see what the Guardian said. I missed that today.
You think? Let's see. See, the problem in this country, they don't treat certain crimes as a crime. We have two different laws in one country. I keep telling this country that's the problem. So, all right, I rob Scotia today. You find me. I rob Commonwealth tomorrow. You find me. Then when I rob Royal and I get catch, then I'm going to get charged.
Then you're the real robber.
Yeah,
so
that's
time
the
now.
recommendation.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
says,
on
Bell
that.
says employers should go to court on third violation. Wow. Minister of Immigration Keith Bell is pushing for a 3-strikes immigration law, which would empower the Director of Immigration to fine violators for the first 2 breaches before that individual is taken to court and charged if there's a third violation. He suggested that taking every offender before the courts would be unrealistic, because the already overburdened courts would not be able to handle the volume of cases related to immigration law violations.
Nonsense. Listen, hire you as a judge and let that be a separate court. That have nothing to do with the civil court and the criminal court. That could be a separate, well, you put that under a misdemeanor, felony, whatever you put it under. But you have a separate court, just like the environmental court wouldn't overload the criminal court. Over immigrant, all you got to do is hire 2 magistrates.
Well, the only way I could see this working, what he's suggesting, because let me read on for those who like me who didn't see this. It says, right now, they're quoting the minister, right now, over the last 2 or so weeks in Abaco alone, we took into custody 245 persons. So now imagine then, if you had to put these 245 persons before the courts, and in addition, we're putting, let's say, 150 employers before the courts, and then let's say we add to that another 50 persons for producing some documents that have not been authenticated, you're talking about over 300 cases you're putting in your court system all at once. He made the comment while a guest on Guardian Radio's Morning Blend. Okay, here is how I could see that working. Because I get his point. Here's how I can see that working. Them fines can't be no little slap on the wrist.
Right.
They got to be some hefty fines.
That's the way it works.
That's the only way that'll work.
Yeah.
And I still agree with your point about having a specific court just for that. But these fines can't be no little tap on the wrist and say, behave yourself now, behave yourself. No. They need to make that so hefty that one fine will be enough for you to catch yourself and realize you don't want to take that chance no more.
Boom. Boom. That's how you deal with criminality, right? You show a strong hand up front. Well, see, here's the thing. If he is concerned about the 245 that he say were caught, and if we charge them with each count, all you have to say, as of July 1st, see, so you give people time to clean up their corruption, right? Whatever date you decide to put, as of July 1st, if we catch you, then you jump. Just like after slavery, the black man did about 2 or 3 years of apprenticeship, so the slave owners then could sort their business out. Right. Okay, well, all right. And at the end of July 31st, everything goes into effect. So whatever you have to clean up, I give you a chance to clean up. That's how you deal with that. Now, in relation to the other story with the Minister of Health, he's saying that there's a lot of chronic diseases occurring now, and not only secondary but tertiary visits are happening. Here's the thing. This is the side effect from the vaccine. What Pfizer talked about, man, them 1,291 side effects that Judge Mark T. Pittman in the Northern District of Texas allowed to be revealed to the public.
It's moderate than that, though. I agree with you that that's a part of it. I think that is just exacerbating. Is that how you exasperating? A already existing problem. We already had a problem with non-communicable disease prior to, and I think that is now just.
Well, but at least it was manageable, Michelle.
It wasn't manageable, but
you don't think the hospitals never used to be overrun like this.
I understand what you're saying, but I would not agree that it was manageable. I think that people was just not going into the hospital and
You think so?
Dying home or being just dealing with it. But it has highlighted the problem that I'm not just I wouldn't just say the vaccine, but COVID on within itself. Many of the people, if not most of the people who died from COVID, I think it was scientifically proven and admitted by the WHO that the majority of people who lost their lives to COVID were people who had 4 and 5 comorbidities, 4 and 5 different diseases that they were already dealing with, and all COVID did, they were already on the edge, and all COVID did was push them over the edge.
Michelle, COVID, the vaccine.
Both.
Okay. Yeah, that's my point. See, what happens when you take the vaccine, the lipid nanoparticle in that binds onto your H2 receptor cells or your CD147 cell. It then allows the cell in your body to replicate poison. They did a study, and upwards to 6 to 8 months, they had to stop the study because your cells was continuing to create poison. And this is what is happening. It is not helping people with non-communicable diseases.
Mm-hmm.
It was not helping them nor chronic illness, right? Nor comorbidities. This killed shot. Pfizer admitted in one of their documents that their shot killed 23 people in 90 days. They admitted that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? All the Fauci them under fire now. But so I said that to say what Darwin is saying. Where me and you able to make exception, he doesn't. He never mentioned the vaccine. All he said, all right, these people ain't behaving themselves. They ain't coming in for treatment. They ain't taking their medication. But me and you know that it is more than that. Me and you would include the vaccine.
Mm.
But for political, righteousness or for political justice or for political, that kind of way. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the proper for the right way they want to say it, as it relates to political correctness. That's the word I'm looking for. They tend to smooth things over. They wouldn't be speaking the truth or in admission of the truth based on what is happening. But thanks for allowing me to call today. You have a nice day.
Thank you so much for calling. I mean, okay. You've had throughout that whole pandemic, you had experts like the Dr. Robert Malone's, who was the inventor of the mRNA technology that was later on used in those vaccines. You had people like Gerd Vanden Bosch, Dr. Gerd Vanden Bosch, you would have heard me talk about him, virologist. And they're just two of many others, Dr. Peter McCullough, many, many others, who were sounding the alarm and were censored and vilified and called everything but a child of God, tried to destroy the careers of those professionals. And it got so bad to the point where regular, I don't know if that's the right term to use, but regular healthcare professionals, doctors, etc., were afraid to speak out for fear of being ostracized or losing their licenses or both. And those who dared to speak out were vilified and censored, and they did everything they tried to do to try to destroy them. Now, many of the people who were pushing the agenda to silence these people, they dead quiet. Now that the truth has come out, they ain't saying much. And, everybody's, we see all these, a syndrome that they have come up with now, sudden adult death syndrome, they call it, because everything is a syndrome. But now all these people around the world just dropping down. And we're supposed to act like that's normal. And everybody's scared to touch it to say, well, is there a connection between this and that? Because what really changed prior to and now? What is the common denominator here? No, you can't say that. Matter of fact, you might have caused me to just get my third strike, which would mean I would be off YouTube. You can't say them things. Let me say this, allegedly. Because they are censoring people. So everything would be what it said just now before, allegedly. I don't know if that's enough to save a channel, but anyhow. They were censoring people. And still there's some censorship to some degree. So, it is what it is, and this is a global thing. I have on tape the head of Pfizer, while attending a World Economic Forum meeting prior to the pandemic, talking about how they anticipate that their revenue is going to drastically increase because there's going to be a pandemic. I have that on tape. Before the pandemic. And he talked about how they were expecting to their bottom line to go up so much because of this vaccine that's being developed because it's going to be a pandemic. I have him on tape saying that with a smirk on his face prior to the pandemic. He was speaking at the World Economic Forum in a closed session. In other words, a session that was open to everybody. But somebody got a tape with him saying that. And so, does he sit next to the throne of the Almighty? How did he know a pandemic was coming up? And how could they be developing something in anticipation of something that they knew was coming that hadn't happened yet? And you might, well, you could argue, well, they're just being proactive just in case. But he seemed very authoritative when he said that. He said with a smirk, because there's going to be a pandemic. So we can make lots of money for our shareholders because we're working on a vaccine that's going to be sold during this pandemic that is coming. So yeah, now again, that right there might have cost me my third strike. So it is what it is. If it did, oh well. Allegedly. But there's so many questions that need to be answered, and I'm very happy that that judge made the determination that they could not suppress all of that research for 75 years when all of us would be dead and gone, and it wouldn't have mattered at that time because they were trying to suppress the information. And now that it is available to the public, everybody who wants to see can see. And the terminology of and Bahamian terminology, and I say this not to say that I'm including myself, but like the song say, we get swing, you get swing. And now, because there were still so many people who did not accept the vaccine, now they are talking about how they're now going to raise the price of a shot to $130 per shot because they didn't make as much money. The plan was to vaccinate the entire population. If you don't believe me, go look it up. Mr. What do you name himself said that? What the man name from Microsoft? That was the plan, to vaccinate every single person on the face of the earth. But because there was so much pushback and they didn't get the kind of response that they thought, they didn't make as much money as they did make. And trust me, it was a lot. They didn't make as much money as they thought they were going to make because there was so much pushback from people on the vaccine. So now, in order to meet the obligations to their shareholders, they are now drastically increasing the cost of one dose of the vaccine to try and make up for the fallout, or make up for the shortfall, I should say, that they didn't make from the free dosages, which weren't free. The governments were paying for them. They weren't free. They might have been free to you, but governments around the world were paying for them. To the degree where they were putting so much pressure on some countries, they were making them sign over infrastructure just to get their hands on these shots. So go figure. But you ain't supposed to say them things. That's off limits. You're supposed to just zip it and pretend you don't see what's going on around you. Pretend. Boy, I tell you. It's a mad, mad world we live in. I shouldn't have deleted that Twilight Zone intro from the videos loaded up in our streaming network, because sometimes I wake up and I honestly feel like we living in the Twilight Zone. Like this got to be a plot from a really good episode of the Twilight Zone. Can't be reality, but this is where we live now. And all these people who were the first to ostracize those who stood up against it and call them everything but a child of God, and they traitors, and they selfish, and they this and they the next, and now they see what's happening around them, and many of them gone quiet. You ain't hearing them out no more. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Mr. Malcolm.
Yes, sir.
I ain't talked to you for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So what about this former prime minister one? This one come down to land, the next one say, no, you come to me in Cat Island.
Yeah.
So I think Dr. Minna should go to Cat Island. And I know he don't want to go there because he know what will happen. Because the prime minister say he will retire him. But what I really call reform, to see that, remember when I told you that it's nothing going to happen with these things when they say they find this and this is missing and the next thing? You see, we got to stop coming to the public, bringing little drip things, saying this and that, and then we still don't know who these people is or what is what. We want to know, the taxpayers want to know who these people is.
You're talking about the food program?
Yeah, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
We want to know, because you told us when you get there, whatever finding you meet, you gonna do what you have to do. Now you're singing a different tune. This is the reason why all of them come to us and tell us all different type of things, what they're gonna do and the next thing. But we ain't seen nothing happening. And this is wrong. The people want to know where is John Doe, where is whoever it is. We want to know. Don't shield nobody. Bring them out in the light that the others will have fear. The others will know, boy, I ain't gonna do this.
Mm-hmm.
But because ain't nothing happening. But here was the former prime minister say yesterday, they was all about popping champagne and traveling and this. See, it seemed to me like they are not afraid to say who's who. But why are we afraid?
You know what, Carla? I can take a break, and because I did pull two clips with regard to that. I pulled the clip at Minnis talking about government spending, and I pulled the clip at Davis talking about the food program irregularities. We have a classic case of the pot calling the kettle black. Now, which one is the pot and which one is the kettle? I can leave you all to decide which is which. But I can just let the clips speak for themselves on the other side of the break. I got to take a break, though.
Okay, Ms. Hunt.
Thanks for calling.
Okay.
All right, we'll be back after these words from our sponsors. You're listening to GPS.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Track Life, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z-Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z-Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z-Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Malcolm here in your company. We are streaming live on Facebook on the official Global 99.5 FM Facebook page and the official Michelle Malcolm page. The telephone numbers to call are 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, and you can WhatsApp us at 8010271, 8010271. Also check us out on Cable Bahamas channel 974. Okay. The pot calling the kettle black. Menace, the former prime minister and competent one, is talking about government overspending. This was his recent contribution to the mid-year budget debate when he made these comments. I'll just go ahead and play the video so you can hear it for yourself.
They are spending plenty of money. That's the words of former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis as he criticized government over a myriad of issues during his contribution to the mid-year budget.
Money is flowing to these PLPs, just like the champagne that is flowing in first class, with PLPs flying all over the world on their expensive trips. While many ordinary Bahamians, Mr. Deputy, are struggling to pay their bills.
Minnis claims that the Bahamian people have lost trust in government as he claims the Davis administration are deaf to the cries of the people, as this government made the high cost of living much worse with the number of increases.
Increase. Prescription drugs, 10% increase. Light bill, cost increase. Cost of running business, increase. Real property tax, threefold increase. Increasing claims on insurance, 10%. Increasing claims on deductible, 10%. Increasing national insurance.
The Kalani MP also cautions the Prime Minister to focus on the affairs of the country and not so much on traveling.
The budget keeps going up as it keeps going as sky high as when the Prime Minister jets off with his big delegation on his latest foreign adventure.
Okay, so for the record, okay, there's been an increase in the travel budget. I think $4 million in 6 months. I agree they're spending too much on travel. But for the record, this the same man under whose watch $2 million was spent, just as one example, on an embassy in Belgium. Y'all remember the story about that $16,000 rug and $12,000, mirror and this and the next. $2 million. $2 million on one embassy in Belgium because they were spending, $250 a day for the ambassador to live in a hotel. And then we all heard the story about all the money they spent decorating the ambassador's residence. All that came up to $2 million on one embassy. Let's go to the phone lines, and then we can hear from Prime Minister Davis talking about some irregularities that took place under the Free National Movement. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon, Miss Michelle.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Miss Malcolm, what I'm listening to is simply amazing. And that is, when we look at Bay Street, where the horses are dying, you can't take a ride in a horse in the carriage. And then you're encountering a great deal of rodents. And besides that, what I would like to know, what has happened to the redevelopment of Bay Street? There was a plan some time ago, I think it was headed by Mr. Fields, that they were redeveloping Bay Street.
Did you tune in today late?
Pardon me?
Did you tune into this show late today?
Yeah.
Okay, we pretty much talked about that for the first 45 minutes of the show today.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, let me move on. Let us then now move culturally to Iraqi. I think the time has come, stop them kicking the can down the road. We must say to the licensees of those restaurants there in Iraqi, this is being granted to you based on the fact that you are Bahamian. You are responsible to hire Bahamians. You understand? You cannot sublease that. If you were to get in the subleasing business, then your license will be revoked. If there is in that restaurant one poop from a rat, the whole thing is to be shut down and then fumigated to ensure that the visitors have a safe place to eat.
Okay.
On top of that, Ms. Malcolm, there must be absolute running hot and cold waters. It must also be arranged that there must be twice a day garbage pickup from the back. And either we do this, and once the licensee knows that he's responsible for everything, national insurance, health certificate, and all of that, you cannot sublease to anyone. You have to be present to ensure that what the visitor receives is absolute authentic. And until we do that, Ms. Malcolm, we are going to not have or not get back what is Bahamian belonging to us. If you are not Bahamian, do not apply. It's not a place for you. Thank you very much, Ms. Malcolm.
Thank you for calling. Okay. Yeah, let's get back to this row between the former leader and the current leader about who's spending how much and all this kind of stuff. So you would have heard that clip with Minnis, former Prime Minister Hubert Minnis, talking about all this money that the present administration is spending and how they, they're not taking into consideration the cost of living and people suffering and yet everything going up, all these, bills going up, etc. So our current Prime Minister, Philip Davis, brought some information to the House of Assembly as it relates to irregularities with the food assistance program. Listen to this.
Principal of an NGO connected to the Minnis administration's COVID-19 food distribution program returned to the government $100,000 in cash about a month ago and still has more to bring. We learned this much from Prime Minister Philip Davis in Parliament today as he led off debate on the mid-year budget.
The same guy brought back 2 modified high-end trucks, such as those used to fuel boats, jet skis, and other watercraft. And they brought 2 boats. A speedboat and a barge.
He says the value of the cash, trucks, and boats totaled $400,000, adding that investigations are continuing into this and other matters relating to the food program. Additionally, Prime Minister Davis also reveals that a company engaged by the former Minnis administration pocketed more than $6 million in work permit and other immigration fees belonging to the government.
Under this exclusive contract, every person that had to go to the various offices of this entity to pay for work permits and all other immigration fees in cash. What is deeply troubling, Madam Speaker, is the fact that this company was not licensed to collect revenue or to engage in the provision of financial services. That's how loose and slack this was.
The Prime Minister adds that the company was also collecting money on a family island, adding that after discussions, the company has agreed to forward the revenue collected. Davis said some funds have been returned to date.
To make matters much worse, much worse, they collect the money and they keep it.
On a point of order, opposition leader Michael Pintard insisted, though, that the Prime Minister verify this information.
So far, we've heard information presented, but no specific information. So the member should either lay the specific information, or he should withdraw it until such time as he's prepared to do so. But even if it's an investigation, you are giving an update, and you ought to lay it on the table.
And in response, the Prime Minister says this.
I said the previous administration, so at least you have a timeline. It wasn't the last 18 months. Right? So you got that timeline. Right? When we came in, we stopped it. Right? We stopped it when we uncovered it.
June 2020.
Right? So it's sometime prior to at least November 2022. Go back as far as you want.
I have a call on the line, but before I go to the caller, I just want to say this. When you live in a glass house, the last thing you should be doing is throwing rock. I'm sorry. Both sides have been guilty of spending more than they need to be spending. And I really, really think that it is incredibly brazen of Mr. Minnis in particular to get up talking about overspending and not considering the poor man when he himself said, next time for y'all poor people, I on y'all run right now. We ain't forget. At least I ain't forget. And that is not to say that I'm excusing overspending by the current administration. No. Because both need to get their act together as far as that is concerned. But when you live in a glass house, you should put down that rock. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
I am good. How are you?
I'm good. I listened to your the seed that you played. I mean, of course, I listen to the House Assembly every day. They're open.
Right.
And also, as a late, but first to your last point, all governments will overspend. I don't care how much they budget and all that stuff, they will overspend.
Mm-hmm.
But my point is, in terms of why is this government continue to drip feeding us information rather than providing evidence or allow the investigation that they say are going on, allow that investigation to come back and to either, to prove these things that he is saying, or whether it's just feed persons who are gullible to have that information, or rather that at the end of the day, you do this investigation, you find out that, okay, all this money that you say was used for this went this way or went to whatever it is, rather than just feeding people just to feed their ego or feed their emotions and all that, just to rally them up and nothing to back it up with.
I don't know how to answer that. I would like to believe that he is not going to come to the House of Assembly. And I agree with you. Instead of dripping it, we just need the whole thing. And
exactly.
I agree with that. But I think it would be incredibly brazen of him to come to the House of Assembly and make such specific allegations if he didn't have evidence of the same.
But let's back up further, right?
Let me just finish my point. So whether it's dripped or it's poured in whole, the whole thing one time, the fact that this allegedly took place is very concerning to me. I would like to see the whole thing one time, but I think we're missing the point. The point is that if this has taken place, this is a problem. Because dripping it or pouring it all out isn't going to change the fact of whether or not it took place. And to me, the focus should be on whether or not it took place, not on how quickly they reveal everything. But I agree with you. I'd like to know everything.
But okay, even back to your portion or actually taking place. Okay, let's put it like this, right? If let's say X amount of money was given for food program, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's not a breakdown that we have to say this is spent on this is spent on that. So maybe that food program person had to buy a truck in order to facilitate what they had to do and all that stuff.
If you had to buy a truck to facilitate that, you shouldn't have get the contract in the first place.
Well, that may be a different point, but I'm saying just picking out things out of something just to kind of make irrational just to feed people is not really doing justice to whatever it is, to the investigation or to what actually happened if you are not giving us the whole landscape of what this person who got the money had to do in order to go about doing what they were contracted to do. So again, just repeating us ain't really doing us no benefit other than just rallying us to say, okay, be against this one or support this one. That's all that is doing.
I hear what you're saying,
But one more point before I leave.
If you gotta go spend money on a truck to deliver food, then maybe you shouldn't get the contract to deliver food.
In the family islands where I live, that always happens with bus contract. Right now they just cancel bus trucks right.
It's wrong no matter who doing it. It's wrong.
But I'm saying right in the family islands, they cancel bus contractors' contract and give it to people who don't have no bus, who have to go and look for someone to find someone.
I've heard.
So this what happens.
But that's wrong. My point is, whether it's the PLP or the F&M doing it, the foolishness needs to stop. It's wrong. And I'm not going to sit here and try to justify it one way or the other because one party in and the next one ain't. Wrong is wrong, whether it's being perpetrated by the F&M or the PLP. My point is, don't come in here throwing rock when you're just as guilty as the next one.
No, but the point of the matter is you have to feed your supporters. So if that means that I have to give a contract to someone who don't have the bus, and then they have to turn around and go look for someone, then that's on them because I want to feed the person who supported me, and that's reality of life. So, but back to the Prime Minister.
That may be the reality of life in the Bahamas, but that should not be accepted.
That happened in the U.S. too. That happened in the U.S. as well.
Man, look here. If you hired me to do a job, I would think you hired me to do the job because I have the capability and the equipment needed to do that job. That's
I agree with you, but it happened in the USA as well. But
that doesn't make it right.
Before I leave.
That doesn't make it right.
I agree with you. But we have this. But we know at the end of the day, you have to support your supporters if you want them to vote for you at the end of the day. And if that means you have to give me a contract and then I have to look for someone to lease it out to, then that's what has to happen.
And yet, we as a people complain about, this is corruption and this shouldn't happen, but yet we try to justify it.
But I don't know if you call those things corruption though.
Well, what it is?
I don't know if they consider corruption. That's the reality of life. I don't know if they are corruption.
Wow. Okay.
But I will make a point that's related to the Prime Minister. Remember when he first gave his budget communication in 2021-22 budget. He said there was $1 billion. I don't know if you remember him saying it. It was $1 billion unaccounted for from the last administration, right? He gave no facts or nothing to say what this $1 million was and all that stuff. And again in his budget, in the midterm budget, he again spoke there saying that how much they already paid down out of this amount, etc. And again, that's dripping without even, because we know at the end of we know that all governments, once an election is called, there are still bills out there that will have to be paid by the incoming governments that goes on, because at the end, when you call election, ain't like you can pay all the bills before the election because all the bills will not be due on election day. So those bills go over. But again, just to say a government had left $1 billion of this, left of that, etc., and they make nothing to prove it or to say what was actually occur year over year occurrences, etc. Just drip feeding people information again, just to rally them up to either support one or to hate the next one.
So let me ask you
And that's
something.
all we do.
Let me
Yes,
ask you something. If I come and I accuse you of something, and you know what I accusing you of ain't true, you ain't gonna stand up and say that ain't true?
No, not that. Well, I mean, of course, you only can do that for so much, for so long. Because again, that's why you see persons who stand on point of order and say, either you prove this information or you retract it and tell you can't provide the information. And that's why they do that. For the same reason.
Either that
And
or
tell
they
the person can
stalling.
provide what they're saying, prove what they're saying.
Either that or
you have to-
either that or they stalling from the information.
Well, I don't know
coming
if
out. Huh?
Well, I don't know if they're stolen, but I think that's just, again, and I talk about both parties. They use those tactics again to feed their people drip information. So, to either rally up one or to support or to hate the other, etc.
And the right word is tactic.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
I have another
ma'am.
caller, but thank you for
Okay,
calling.
bye.
Eh?
Have a good day.
You too. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon, Michelle. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, now, I want to look at this immigration problem from a different perspective than I think anybody is looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to look at it from the national insurance perspective. If we have people on work permits that come to the Bahamas, they make so many contributions, or they make so much payments, or they work for so many years, they are entitled to NIB benefits for the rest of their life. So when these people come to the Bahamas, make so many payments, or work for so many years, they go back to their home country, they receive benefits for the rest of their life, and they receive benefits from the country in which they reside or which are where they're from. How much money we spend in a year on paying expats and NIB benefits?
I don't know.
I could bet you, let's say on the high scale is what, $700 something a month? And mostly when these expats come, they pay on the high scale. I would presume they pay on the high scale. So this would mean that they would receive the maximum payment that NIB allows, which I think is about $1,700 to $2,000. And these people receive this money for the rest of their life. When they die, their spouse receives spousal benefit for the rest of their life. I don't see that fair to the human people.
Right.
I would hope that when these people leave the country, they would maybe receive benefits for maybe a couple of years, or they receive what they put back into the program. But to pay them for the rest of their life, I don't see where that's fair.
I hear you.
And I think that's something that both governments need to look into, and that's something that needs to be addressed, because we're getting ready to plan to raise NIB contribution. This where the money going. Incidents like this.
I hear you. All right. Well, listen, thanks for calling. I got to take a break, though, but thank you for calling, eh? All right. We're going to take this break, and then on the other side, we're going to continue to look at stories that made headlines this week, or whatever you guys want to talk about. This is your show today. We'll be back after this. Stay with us.
At Lee Air, safety is our #1 priority. Flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 hyperimmune egg powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
For all your building needs, it's Carib Construction and Project Management on Gladstone Road. We build it all: schools, homes, hotels, and more, including structures requiring a Phase 3 electrical contractor. We also provide project management services. The first step towards your dream building begins at Carib Construction and Project Management. Call us at 376-1556 or 341-4466.
One of the things I love about the mailboat is their relationship with Bahamas Air. I can earn travel points on my international freight and redeem them when I fly.
For me, online shopping is easy with Mailboat's U.S. addresses and regular freight delivery to Nassau. Plus, I can always prepay customs and freight, and they always notify me when my package arrives.
Yeah, a lot of people think the Mailboat is just for shipping, but they also offer a safe and secure storage facility at affordable rates, all in a central, convenient location.
We also offer passenger service into Freeport multiple times per week with a seating capacity of over 450 persons.
With family movies on large screens, one hot meal included, and on-board lounge for snacks and soft drinks.
We're the Mailboat. We're bridging people, products, and places.
Executive Printers is your one-stop shop for all your branding and customization needs. Letterheads, envelopes, business cards, invoices, share and gift certificates, rubber stamps, vouchers, funeral programs, brochures, flyers, banners, and promotional items like mugs, water bottles, mouse pads, and key rings, all with personable service and great quality. No project is too small or too large. For great turnaround and competitive pricing, make an executive decision. Call us at 393-5011.
And we are back. Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. The numbers to call 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272. The WhatsApp line for text messages only is 801-0271, 801-0271. And of course, we are also airing on cable channel 974 and streaming live on Facebook. So if you haven't already done so, like and share the show and let everyone know that GPS is on the air. And this and every Friday, we're giving you an opportunity to have your voices heard on matters that are of importance to you. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Bishop.
Yes, sir.
I don't want you to get in any trouble, but you
Do you know the name of the NGO who turned in $100,000?
I do not.
Huh?
I do not.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
Yeah, you're talking about what the Prime Minister revealed in the House of Assembly about this particular NGO that turned in 100,000 and the 2 trucks and the speedboat, I think, was included in that.
Yeah, but I hear the people call it on TGIF News. He didn't call it in the House, but he put it out in the press release.
Okay.
Anyway, since you
Yeah, thanks for calling. If you gotta go buy speedboat and luxury truck, that I'm sorry, don't cut it for me. And you could try to justify that as much as you want to try to justify it and talk about every government is do that. And this is why we can't get no better in this country, because you all like to justify the wrong when it's your party that guilty of the wrong. When it's your party that's doing it, everything is all fair and love and war. Only when somebody else doing it who you don't agree with, then you got a problem. We can't fix this country if we continue to have that attitude. Well, everybody does it. This is just what happens. So, your party come in, you got to take care of your people. So you take contracts from people who have the equipment and actually capable of doing the job. And you give it to somebody who got to go back and lease the equipment from the same people who they just, and everybody doing it. So what's the problem? That's the problem right there. The fact that you can't see that that's a problem. And we wonder why our nation is not progressing as it ought to. Because we got a bunch of cronyism and, we putting, party supporters ahead of allegedly persons who are capable of doing the work, who already have all the equipment just to appease somebody for their support during the election campaign. And we wondering why we can't move any further or faster in an upward mobility. That's why. And it can't be good for one and not good for the other to do. And you can't justify it just because it's your party or doing it. So you may not call it corruption. I don't know what you'd call it, but I know one thing. That ain't the best way to operate. I'm not saying it doesn't happen under all administrations, but that don't make it right. That's all I'm saying. But my point is, the reason why I brought that up is because you have one man who, under his watch, didn't seem to give 5 cents about the plight of the poor man. And now he got so much to say about what this administration is doing to hurt the poor man when he didn't seem to give a damn about the poor man when he was there. Spending money left, right, and center. Like it was going out of style. Not having proper oversight of a program like the food assistance program while people suffering. Because people were suffering. And you didn't have the desire to oversee that more closely. And you ain't had no problem spending $2 million on one embassy and $14,000 on rug and bed and mirror and all them kind of things. You ain't got no problem with that. $2 million. But yet you come here today talking about overspending? Man, go sit down. All of you are wrong. All for the overspending that is taking place. And I don't want to justify one or the other just because, that's what everybody is doing. How we can get better as a nation if we keep justifying this foolishness? We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good day. How y'all doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Rachel and Papa here for the listeners. I hope everybody okay over there.
Yeah,
Miss Malcolm.
Uh-huh.
How we can get better?
Mm-hmm. You tell me, Papa.
Boy. Mom, to tell you the truth, right? I don't think we have to be a rocket scientist to figure this one out.
You wouldn't think so?
No, because, I ain't gonna talk about me and you. I can say them. Who in there doing this foolishness? Who been doing this foolishness? F&M and PLP. They don't do that with their own business. That thing what you call oversight. What you say? Not enough oversight, or
yeah.
They don't do that with their business. That's to show you they don't care about us. They laughing at it. This is a big joke to them. PLPs and F&Ms. You say how we can get better. You don't even want to know why we can get better. I mean, like I said, you ain't got to be a rocket scientist. It's simple. A baby, a child could tell you. When you do wrong, you spank them. You make example. Why you think the Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister, could be opening his mouth now and carrying on like he won't come back? And shameless and saying the thing.
He ain't carrying on like we won't come back. He planning to try to come back.
What I mean, in other words, he's shameless. Shameless. That means you ain't get no shame. That means either he ain't get no shame or he think we stupid. We get rolled his backside out of office. We get to find out all kind of foolishness they doing. And he able, the law, the politics, you say how he can get better? If he change some of these foolishness, what we allow him to do, he can walk around here with his chest stick out to talk, but he won't come to run again and do all that foolishness. And you know what's the sickening part about it, the sad part? Ain't none of them better than the rest. He's secure, right? We like the information they giving us, let us know what they doing it. But the only way we can find out what they doing is if we get them out of the
next one coming.
That's so sad, man. We got to make examples. See, what I suggest this government to do, right? Just like how, see, they felt like there was something wrong with she and Gibson do, so they pursue it. They find out that at least the jury said the man innocent. That's a good step. Let's go further, man. Come on, man. Come on. I ain't going to send no one to jail, but my God, if we thief a can of corn before we do something like you're talking about, we trying to do things to survive. You want to put a hammer down on them people out there who talking about they selling drugs to do this and to do that to take care of their children. That's against the law, so you don't play with it. This thing fleecing and all these big short lawyer words you always be using on it and smiling up here with your advance. Excuse me. The point is, we need to enforce the law. We need to make example of these people. The people who was in charge to give out the grocery, we can't let that get away. If we let that get away, the set who there now could do worse. We got to stop human people, man. We got to do something. We got to make them change it, or we got to get in there and change it. This is, of course, you don't want woke. That's what they want, no. They want us to be frustrated to say we give up on woke because he's none better than the other one. Well, we got to weed these people, and we got to make example. I ain't say chop up one another and burn the place down, no. But we got to make noise about it. This our money they doing it. They taking care of their friends, family, and lovers. And the real support. See, you all think this is a black and white thing. You all think this is a PLP and F&M thing. You all mix up. This is what I learned in my years in the politics world here in the Bahamas. This is a class thing. They think they're better than us. They will never do these things with their businesses, how they running through our money, millions of dollars and doing it. The question, anyhow.
Papa, go to the head of the class. Go to the head of the class. Go to the head of the class. Go to the head of the class.
Listen, you know what's sticking to one last thing I want to say. You can't even express your damn self in this country. It gets so worse, right? I never thought that people would have to testify to do it. The older they get old. They ready to threaten you. You speak against them. Don't care if you're a part of their party. They'll take bread out your damn mouth. And that's so sickening. This cause us won't get to think like them other parts of the world, like the Middle East and them other places how they deal with the politics. But we ain't gonna never get there. We can pray to God to change this. We can pray to God to put the right set of people in there and stop this fleecing and this thieving or whatsoever it is. Take example of these people. The same way you lock up someone for breaking in the church and thieving bread or whatsoever because they said they was hungry. Come on, man. These people them who was doing wrong. Let's make an example of it. It doesn't matter if they PLP or F&M. What does make me sick about them? They want to play God. You cuss the party. You talk this one. You can't say nothing against the party. They get up to them. That's the fortitude. Because people regret doing what they do. It's sickening. Anyhow, you might hear me every day, but you have to encourage. I pray and we're asking God to deal with them out of it.
Thanks for calling, Papa. Oh boy, bottom line is we need some people with some strong backbone instead of jelly back, man. Everybody's so scared you ain't want to say nothing. Come on, man. Evil can only exist when good men stand by and do nothing. They see it happening and they do nothing. That's how evil is able to prevail. That's how it happens. They see it happening, but they got their tail between the leg and scared to say anything. Well, you need to leave that one alone. Don't say nothing. You ruffling feathers now. You need to don't touch that. Don't touch that. Man, come on, man. Y'all grow some backbone. We need people with backbone in this country who can say enough is enough. Right is right and wrong is wrong. Still. And we need to stop being so tribalistic. Everything about your party. And no matter what your party do wrong, it's just all right. Because it's your party. And you want to know why we can't do no better? And one thing I want you all to realize, whether you realize it or not, you set an example for the children of this nation. They're watching, The young people watching. They soaking up everything, sucking up everything you're doing like sponges. They watching. You training them to continue to perpetuate the wrong. Perpetrate, whatever the word is. You training them. You teaching them how to keep corruption at the core of this nation. You ain't just doing what you're doing and affecting you and yours for right now. Every cause has an effect. Every action a reaction. I know that's Debbie's show from back in the day. So, we got to do better as a nation, man. And y'all need to grow some backbone and then stop being a bunch of cowards in this nation. Scared to speak up when you see wrong happening. Turning a blind eye because that's your party in power. Because one day, that chicken coming home to roost in your yard would never ceases to amaze me. It's these people who just be, got all the mouth about the wrong and everything. That one particular administration doing, and then their party come in power and everything all of a sudden wonderful and good, and then something happen and they fall out. And then all of a sudden you just find your backbone and start complaining about these same people who was the savior of the world before you all fall out or before you ain't get that contract which you thought you was going to get. Now all of a sudden you realize, this government, this and this government, that. You didn't realize that before? But just because you ain't get what you thought you was going to get, all of a sudden now you could speak truth? We need to stop the foolishness in this country, man. Honest to God, we got to do better as a people. We got to do better. Otherwise, put a zip on it and hush your mouth. Don't say nothing because you encouraging the powers that be to do what they're doing when you have that kind of reaction and behavior towards what they're doing or aren't doing. You encouraging them. So hush. We don't want to hear what you got to say. Until you are really willing to stand up and say right is right and wrong is wrong, and stop justifying wrong just because it's your party, you really should be quiet. And those of you who live in glass house, stop throwing rock. Because when you was in power, what did you do to fix these problems? I hear the former Minister of Health talking about the state of our public health system and how this government need to fix it. Yeah, they need to fix it, but your administration should have fixed it too. These problems ain't just start in the last 18 months. What did you do when you were sitting in the seat? What never ceases to amaze me is just the sheer brazenness of these people. Like one of the callers say, either they think we stupid, which they do. Anyhow, people, unless we are willing to stand up for what is right, we don't have no right to complain about what is wrong. Because you're facilitating it by turning a blind eye just because that's your tribe. And that applies to all. That applies to PLP, that applies to FNM, that applies to COI, all. Call a spade and tell the truth and shame the devil. And stop justifying wrong just because it's your people who doing it. And until such time as we decide as a collective to do that, we wasting time talking to hear yourself. People will only do what you allow them to get away with. If you don't require of them to do better, why should they? But you got to require it. That's the caller? Man, why y'all wait till we got 3 minutes left on the show? You got to make it quick. Caller, welcome.
Good day, Lady Malcolm. That's because I just reached home and you're sounding good. But I agree with you 110,000%. But the problem is, why the politicians do that? Because, like you said, Dwayne Sands, if there's one time the hospital should have been fixed, should have been with Dwayne Sands and Dr. Minute. But what they're doing, Lady Malcolm, they're telling the Bahamian people outright, y'all are fools. And that's all I call it. Say, y'all stupid. Y'all fools, Bahamian people. You just saying it in other words, but that's what I say. Thanks for taking the call.
All right, thanks for calling. We got to stop letting these people take us for stupid, man. We got to stop letting these people play games. So it's like there's some kind of... I did a show in the past called Political Chess Games. That's what this is. Everybody moving their chess moves for political expediency. How many of them actually care about the people of this nation and see you more than just a pawn in a game of chess? And while you're fighting up each other, they sitting back laughing, saying, look at these idiots. Wake up, people. Stop allowing these people to ride you and treat you like fools and demand more from all. And if you ain't willing to do that, hush. Because people only do what you allow them to do to you. All right, that's my time. Let me go off this soapbox. Get out of here. Guys, have a safe weekend. Let's learn to love each other more. Put down the guns, y'all young people. Stop doing foolishness out there, man. Learn to talk things out. Tomorrow's another day. All right? I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for tuning in to GPS. I'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global.